All right, guys, I get it. You saved up, you maybe got finance, convinced your wife this is something that's gonna work out, and you finally got your first grinder. Congratulations. I know you definitely feel like you made it, and you should definitely be proud that you got equipment to get started. But if you're looking in the future to get into larger spaces, that grinder very soon will go from an asset to a liability. So let me put some numbers behind it. Say you're gonna be prepping a 3,000 square foot job and you're using a small grinder, like a 22-inch grinder. You're only going to be grinding 300 to 400 square feet an hour. That's going to be 8 to 10 hours that you and your guys are there grinding the floor. If you were another guy and you had a 32-inch grinder that grinds between 800 and 1400 square feet an hour, you can cut that prep time down to 4 hours. Not only do you still have time in the same day to lay the first coat, you save a ton of money paying your guys labor costs, and you can get in and out of the job way faster to get to your next one. Say you got a crew of 3 guys and you're paying them each $35 an hour. If it takes you 8 to 10 hours, you're looking at about $800 to $850 extra in labor costs you have to them because they were stuck there grinding the floor. So if you lose $840 a month, 4 times a month, that comes out to $3,600. Times that by a year, you're out 40 grand because you're not using the right size equipment. That's a lot of money. Here's something installers just don't get. The faster your grinder preps, the faster you can get in and out of these jobs. So if you want to do multiple jobs a week, it would benefit you greatly to invest in a larger machine. One, because you won't be paying your guys to sit on the floor. Your guys will love you a lot more that they're not there 8 hours doing the same work a machine can do in half the time. And that's how you scale. If you're trying to do commercial jobs, those big outfits have 32-inch grinders that are grinding 1,000 to 1,400 square feet an hour. That production rate that they're producing will blow you out of the water every time. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, those big machines are 20, 30, 40 grand. I can't afford that right now. And that's fine. But if you plan on doing those jobs in the future, you need to start thinking about what equipment you're gonna use. If you can't afford it, if you get a big job, I strongly recommend that you at least rent a larger machine because it also is gonna make your company look bad. If some companies said that the job's gonna be done in a week, you underbid them, and then it takes you a month because you don't have the right equipment, that puts a little bit of a blemish on your company's reputation. The main thing is to not let your equipment determine the size jobs you can take. Let me show you guys with a real example. One guy, Mike, he had 2 21-inch grinders and he was prepping 3,500 square feet. The other guy, Carlos, rented a machine for $800 a day, and it was a 32-inch machine, and he was prepping the same 3,500 square feet. It took Mike 3 days and paying all his guys 3 days worth of work to prep. Carlos was finished in 1 day. Mike's labor cost was $3,000 for those 3 days. Carlos's was $1,200. Add the $800 for the grinder, and he only spent 2 grand on labor total and got it done in less than half the time. So here's the difference. Carlos made $1,000 more on this floor, and he got it done 2 days before Mike, who had 2 smaller machines on this job. So that is a great explanation of why larger equipment will save your ass. To put it in perspective, if you do that once a month, at the end of the year, you'll have an extra 12 grand. I don't know about you, but an extra 12 grand, I'd probably buy a Rolex, I'd go on vacation. I do some things that I enjoy. I'd rather keep that 12 grand than give it to my guys. Even though I love my guys, if I really love my guys, I'd get them a bigger machine so they don't have to work as hard. And here's the thing most owners don't even think about. Your crew. If you really loved your guys, why would you force them to stay on a floor double as long to do the same job? Like, yeah, I know you love paying them hourly and stuff. I'd rather just pay them per square foot, give them the right equipment, and do 3 times the amount of work in a week than you do now. Your crew will get fatigued. If you keep getting these big jobs and you don't have the right equipment, your crew will get burnt out, and it's gonna be very hard for you to keep good guys because bigger companies will equip them with the right tools to get the job done in a timely manner that doesn't break their back. So if you really care about your guys, you should invest in your company. And now let me tell you a quick story from one of my best clients. So he landed a beautiful 5,000 square foot job. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go knock it out with my genie. He uses that for garages all the time. I was like, okay buddy, call me when it hurts. And he was like, what do you mean? He calls me 3 days later. He's halfway through the floor and he's just complaining that the floor is never ending and he doesn't know if he's even gonna get it done. And I told him that is exactly what I meant. When he was done with the job, he actually called me. He made less money than he would if he did a smaller job. And the reason being, that machine, it took him 7 days to get all the stuff off the floor and he had to pay all his guys for 7 days. The next job, I told him, trust me and buy a bigger machine. He prepped 5,000 square feet with stuff on the floor in 9 hours. It saved him a ton of money and now he wants to go back to go land these big jobs. He had a very bad taste in his mouth in the beginning because he lost more money and he did more work. That is the opposite of using your head. If you don't trust yourself, trust me. Not only will your crew get burnt out from doing this, but your smaller machine will definitely as well. So if you're doing 2-car garages, you're really only running the grinder for maybe a couple hours a day. If you're doing larger square footages, you're gonna be running that grinder for 10 to 12 hours a day, which is gonna greatly decrease the longevity of your machine. Because of the extreme use, things wear a lot quicker. You're gonna have to replace a lot more parts. And by the time you're said and done, you're probably gonna have to buy a new machine in a couple years. Just because you get a big machine does not mean there is not a place for your smaller unit. You can now start a crew that does garages while you're doing larger jobs. If you're on a larger job, you can have the smaller grinder do the hallways and office spaces. There are a lot of uses you can still use your first grinder for, but for larger areas, you really need to get a big one.